does manifestation really work?
Manifestation is not sitting here going and money's going to fall out of the ceiling. Sometimes the press have said, I'm just in it for the money. It's called rejection. It happens to all of us.
What's the most powerful way to deal with a narcissist?
Leave them.
Hey, I'm Ben Harvey, CEO of RTT, and we're back again for another episode of Ask a Therapist. And it's not any therapist, it's the legendary Marisa Peer. So today we're going to kick off and we're going to ask personal questions around mindset, and also some controversial and cultural questions. So let me begin. Marisa, Stephen has asked, what's the one thing people get completely wrong about you, and why does it matter?
Sometimes the press have said, I'm just in it for the money. So some people don't understand why I created a rapid brand of therapy, but it doesn't really matter. Because the most important word you ever hear, the words you say to yourself and let in. So when you put yourself out there, it's like if you write a book, one person will love it, one person won't love it. You'll get a nice review and a negative review. But you have to choose what to let in. I love this thing. There's never been a statue erected to a critic. And I remind myself of that. Well, I have a cushion that says there's never been a statue erected to a critic. And I know in my heart I'm doing something good, and I don't have time to deal with the haters. I'm too busy doing something good. But I would say they get it wrong. They don't understand I'm doing this because it's like a calling. It's never about the money, but if people think it is, that's not my problem, it's their problem.
Well, I know all the testimonials of the many lives that you've not just changed but saved as well, so thank you. This is a question from Gary. How can you tell if you're healing or just emotionally bypassing under the label of growth?
You know when you're healing because you feel better. Our feelings are the most real thing we have. And if you can say, I wake up in the morning and I feel happy. I cope with whatever life has to throw at me and I feel good. I can handle anything in my way. And I can make anything that's negative either positive or at least okay. Then you know you're healing, because healing is a state of mind. Growth is like I'm growing and expanding, but I might be doing it feeling stressed and anxious. So I'd say healing is really being happy with who you are and where you are, no matter what.
This is a message from Stephanie. What emotion has been your toughest teacher, and how did you finally face it?
I would say loss has been my toughest teacher. I lost both my parents within 3 months. I lost my best friend in the whole world. When I was 22, my best friend then died of cancer. And 2 years ago, my other best friend also died. So losing someone is hard. Because you think, well, why would you take someone as beautiful as Helen? That was my best friend. Why would you take someone as beautiful as Adrian? And we can't have answers to that. All we can do is say, wow, I'll never make sense of that, but I've still got to live a great life.
Thank you. Stuart has asked, have you ever made yourself smaller to fit in? And if you did, what did it cost you?
Yes, when I was on my first show called Celebrity Fit Club, there was me, and there was a doctor, and the doctor would say, no, it's all about low fat, and I knew that wasn't true, it's about low carbs. And although I would occasionally question him, he'd go, well, you're just one of those crazy therapists, and I wish I'd stood my ground and said no, but we do that, we go, oh, this is a doctor, this is a psychiatrist, and we let them overrule us. So I let someone else's credentials overrule what I knew to be the truth. But it was a good lesson, because I'll never do it again.
And did it cost you anything?
Yeah, it cost me that job. I didn't get booked for the second season.
So if you feel passionate, you should be true to yourself.
And also I didn't realise then that television is about entertainment. They don't really care about you saying, oh, look, here's the history of the brain. They want you to be mouthy and difficult and objectionable because it makes great TV, which I wouldn't have done. But I would have probably been a bit more forceful in my opinions. I was too respectful from other people.
This is a message from Shelley. She's asked, what's the most powerful way to deal with a narcissist, especially when calling them out won't work?
Leave them. There's only one thing to do with narcissists, which is to leave. If you're dating a narcissist, get out. I mean, if your parents are narcissists, it's hard to leave. But if you are dating a narcissist and you don't have children, they will not change. You must leave. The only way to be happy is to leave. Narcissistic relationships don't work because the narcissist has this belief, there's nothing wrong with me, it's you. And they get fuel by making you wrong, and they will make you wrong. and they'll do a number on you by drawing you in, and then they'll make you wrong. Life's too short to try and make someone else change to be happy. So if you have a narcissistic boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife and you don't have children, get out and don't go back. If you are unable to leave these people because you've got children with them, only communicate in one way, either only Facebook, only email, only text. Don't have 4 different ways, because I never got that, I didn't get that. Just have one form of communication and always have read, and do not allow them to hurt you. Don't allow them to manipulate. Just hold your ground, stick your ground, be the better parent, but don't let them play games with you. And one of the best ways is only one form of communication ever, and never let them see they're hurting you. Just be calm, be chilled. The opposite of love is not hate, it's complete and utter indifference.
Thank you. So this is a message from Lara. Have you ever portrayed your true self to be liked? And if you had, what did that moment teach you about your self-worth?
I don't know if I actually have ever done that. You know, I was always a bit different when I was a kid because my father was my head teacher, which I wouldn't recommend. So I already felt different. So there'd be no point in me trying to be someone else. I already felt like a freak. So I would say I probably didn't ever say, oh, I like what you like, I'll do what you do. And when I was dating, I already knew at 16 that men like women who are a bit difficult. So if you want to make someone like you, disagree with everything they say, be your own person. They like a challenge. My daughter said once, how do you make a boy like you? I said, disagree with everything they say. They like football, say I like rugby. They're smoking stupid. So even at 15, I knew that I should have my own opinion and stick with it. And I did. But I can see why so many of us, you know, shut down our thing and become very agreeable. I like what you like. I'll do what you want to do. I'll go where you want to go. And I can see why we do that. But if you can, be your own person. You know, say what you want. Learn these magic words. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't suit me. And here's the best one. That doesn't make me comfortable. Because it's a very easy, kind way of saying, I don't want to go partying all night. I don't want to take drugs. I don't want to drink myself into oblivion. I'm not interested in watching porn. I don't feel comfortable with that. And the other thing that really works in a relationship is this. You have a need to stay up all night drinking, and I have a need to go to bed early because I've got a very important meeting tomorrow. Which need is more important? And in the conversation, the more important need shows up. One of my clients said, you know, I'm dating a guy with 3 kids. I want a child and he doesn't. I said, well, let's do this. Hey, Eric, you have a need to not have any more children. And here's Laura with a need for a child. Whose need is more important? In fact, in this case, it's hers, because how could someone with 3 kids say, I don't want more? And I said, you know, imagine your life is ending, or you're given this thing, you can have a partner and no child, or a child and no partner. She said, the child and no partner. I said, there's your answer. You should leave him, and he should allow you to leave him, because you need a child, and he's got 3, and your need will trump his. He doesn't have to have a child to please you, but he has to let you go and find someone. And she has got a child now, and she's very happy. But, okay, you have a need, I have a need. Whose need is more important in this case? And it will always show itself. You don't have to prove it. It will, even in the sentence, the correct need shows up.
The next set of questions are around mindset, reprogramming beliefs, breaking cycles, and owning your power. So here's a question from Stephanie. Do you believe everyone carries trauma?
I do think everyone carries trauma, but there are degrees of trauma. The trauma of being sexually abused as a child, or emotionally abused, or having an absent parent. So someone wrote to me and said, hey, you know, I really like this man at work. He doesn't like me, it's affecting my mental health. It's a trauma. I said, that's not a trauma. It's called rejection. It happens to all of us. Get over it. I mean, maybe this person at work is gay, or married, or asexual. The fact that he doesn't want to have a relationship with you is not affecting your mental health. You're affecting your mental health by saying, oh, it's a trauma. So I think we have trauma, but I think we now overuse the word trauma bonding. This is triggering. I'm triggered by. And it simply isn't true. So saying this triggers me is okay. I feel triggered by it, but you don't is better. So we do have trauma, but don't overuse that word. Some things are traumatic, but the weather, the traffic, and your relatives are not traumatic. And if we all overuse that word, it's not for people who really do have real trauma. They've been in a war zone, they've lost somebody. And calling your trauma about having to commute to work every day is not fair to someone who has real trauma. So we all have it, but we have it in degrees. And if it's a little degree, use a different word. Call it a challenge instead of a trauma. Because a challenge is something you can overcome. A trauma stays with you. So your words shape your reality. If you say, I've got a challenge, I find this challenging, I'm challenged by, it's a challenge when your brain hears, that's a challenge, but you can overcome it. If you say, this is a trauma, I'm traumatized by, I'm in trauma, because the brain hears, oh, you're going to be stuck forever. So use a different word. Your words shape your reality. Change your words, and you can actually change your entire reality. You know, I did that when I started to call my child age appropriate. They say, oh, my kid's a nightmare. Oh, my kid's hell. Oh, my kid is age appropriate. They do get in your bed when they're 2. They do wake you up all night when they're 1. They do smear peanut butter all over the fridge when they're 4. Believe me, when they're 18, they'll be in someone else's bed, and you'll have a perfect fridge, and you'll miss them. So the word age appropriate says this too will pass, but this is driving me insane isn't something that passes. So mark your words and keep adapting them all the time. It will change your entire life.
Agreed. This is a message from Cassandra. Why do smart people repeat toxic patterns even when they know better?
The most vexing thing about the brain is this. The brain wants to go back to what it knows. The brain wants to go back to what is known and familiar. So if you've never had praise and someone praises you, you'll reject it. If you've never had love, if you've never had wealth, you'll actually reject it. So very smart people, the subconscious mind is a feeling mind. It's not logical. The conscious is logical. The feeling is illogical. And the feeling wins. It's like saying, why would a smart person go to the top of the CNN tower, look down and feel sick? Why do some people go to the top and look down and their stomach drops? Because if the feeling mind is saying, oh my God, this is going to kill you. We know, why does a smart person say, this person's left me and I can't go on? So we have to understand the subconscious mind, the feeling mind is running the show. The conscious logical mind is not running the show. And a smart person will sound very smart, but I still feel really scared of getting on a plane. I'm scared of getting in an elevator. I'm scared of bees. One of my clients told me that when he was a kid, someone put a spider in his mouth and made him swallow it. And now he's terrified of spiders because the brain is remembering that. Doesn't mean he isn't smart. But you see, if you say to someone who drinks too much, come on, darling, you're ruining your life, have a nice cup of tea. The conscious mind knows that. The logical mind says, no, I need a drink. I need a drink to relax. Even though people who drink will cry when they drink because it's so stressful, the feeling mind will win the show. So don't use smartness and logic, use feeling.
Love that. This is a message from Edward. Why do some people feel safer in struggle than in success?
Well, when you're struggling, you're moving towards something. We all have a goal achieving mechanism. It's like, okay, I'm building this house from scratch, I'm building this business from scratch, and I feel a sense of accomplishment. When it's finished, I'm like, what am I going to do now? When I finished my first book, people said, you must be so happy, but actually I missed it. Because you see, when the mind is stretched, it moves to a new dimension, and it never goes back again. And while we're moving towards our potential, it's expanding and expanding. So when you're building something, you're expanding. When it's built, you kind of contract. So we're much happier when it's like saying, I give my dog food every day, but it still wants to bury a bone because it's wired to do that. We are wired as humans to achieve, to stretch, to move there. We're not really wired to sit still. So many people build a business, sell it, and build another one because the happiness is not in achieving it, it's in building it because we feel, wow, I'm doing something good. I'm striving. I'm working. I have purpose and meaning. But when you've finished it, there's nothing left to do.
Yep. This is a question from Amelia. What's the one myth about success that's secretly keeping people stuck?
That success is easy for some people. Some people are so gifted, they just have success. And that's not true. Everyone I know who's successful has worked really, really hard. And the other one is when you're successful, you never know who your friends are. And that's also not true. I know many people who are very successful with great friends, great relationships. But those two beliefs It's easy for you, but when you get there, you'll never know who your friends are. People will be envious of you. They won't like you anymore. None of this is true, but if you believe it, you'll make it true.
This is a question from Penelope. Does manifestation really work?
Well, first of all, manifestation is not sitting here going, and money's going to fall out of the ceiling. Everyone I know who's a manifestor does three things. The first is they work a lot on I'm worth it, because you don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you believe you are worth. So the first step is to spend a long time saying I'm worth it, I deserve it. And you won't believe it at first, but keep doing it. The second step is called sheer hard fricking work. So I could manifest a book deal, but I've got to produce a synopsis, show it to an agent, work on it, then I could produce a book. But I've got to do a lot of work to make it sell.
You did manifest a book deal, your first book deal.
But I had to work a lot, and it's quite isolating. So if you've done the first two, I'm worth it, the sheer hard work. The third thing is you cannot manifest from a scarcity mindset. So if while you're doing that, you're keeping old food, keeping things you'll never use, for women, keeping old bits of makeup, keeping stuff, in case you need it again, you're in a scarcity mindset. If you think, oh, this won't work, they won't like me, you're in a scarcity mindset. If you're like, I'm not going to tip, I can't afford it, you're in a scarcity mindset. So if you want to manifest abundance, here's two lanes. I want to be in abundance, but my mindset is scarcity. You can't drive your car in two lanes, so you've got to get out of, and just by thinking, is this a scarcity thought? Is this a scarcity behavior? Am I keeping something for no reason at all? Let me give it all away. Give it to Goodwill, throw it away, because now I'm feeling I don't need that stuff, let it go. So those three things will make you a master manifester. Know you're worth it, work very hard in the direction of your goals, and notice your scarcity beliefs and flip them. If you do those three things, you'll be much better at manifesting. So let's imagine you want a great business, a promotion, and you keep saying, I'm visualizing, but we're not all visual. So you need to use all of your senses. What does it feel like to wake up and go to that new job? What does it feel like to have a PA? What does it feel like to have people working under you? What does that feel like in your body? And what does it look like? What does your office look like? What does it sound like? What do you hear people saying? Oh, I'm so glad you got this promotion. You so deserve it. I love working for you. What are you hearing? What are you saying to people? Do that for me. Do that work. Do that. But also, what does it smell like? What does your desk smell? We talk about I can smell the money. I can taste the success. So do that too. What does it smell like? If you want a great partner, what does it feel like to go to bed with someone's arms wrapped around you? What does it look like to wake up every day with someone there? What kind of things are they saying? What are you saying? What does their skin smell like? What does their breath taste like? When I was working with women who couldn't conceive, that's when I learned to do all of it. What does it feel like to walk around with a big pregnant tummy? What does your baby feel like when you hold it? What does it look like? What does it taste like? What does your baby's little skin smell like? So if you can use all your senses, see it, hear it, feel it, smell it, taste it, it's much more, when it's real, the mind will go for it. If you use only one sense, it's not real enough, especially if you're not a visual person and you're a kinesthetic person or an auditory person, then you're using the wrong thing. I want to see it. Most people say, I can't see myself running up the surf wearing a tiny little thong as a perfect size 0. But I could feel my partner holding my body and saying, I love your waist. I could hear someone saying, oh, I like your body, I love your curves. So seeing it, it's like I never can see that. I just can't see that working out. So if you use that, I can't see it, doesn't look right to me, you're not visual. Go for what it feels like and sounds like, and even smell the money, smell the success.
Now we're going to move on to controversial and cultural. Breaking taboos, reclaiming truth, sparking real conversations. Here's a message from Petra. What's the one popular self-help idea you think is total nonsense?
I would say my favourite is every day, in every way I'm getting better and better. I would say at what? Having headaches so you can miss going to work. Being lonely, isolating yourself. You see, the brain only responds to words that make a picture. The way we feel about everything comes down to this. the pictures we make and the words we use. So if I say every day I'm getting better and better, at what? What am I getting better at? My mind doesn't know, so it can't. If I say every day I'm more skilled at conversation. Every day I'm really good at conversation. Every day I'm so gifted at talking to clients. My brain knows what it means and it's going to find a way of making it real. But if your manifestations don't make a picture, every day life is a walk through the park. Well, I live in New York and it's snowing. So that doesn't make sense to my brain. And maybe I've got hay fever anyway, or I'm obese, so I don't want to walk through the park. So when you're making a manifestation or a visualization, ask yourself a couple of questions. Is the picture real? Do the words make sense? Is this exciting my imagination? Is it clear? Is there any room for business? I want more money. Well, here's $1. Well, I don't want that, but that's more money, isn't it? I want love. I met someone and I spent the night with them. I never heard from them again. But I didn't say I want love for the rest of my life with someone who's falling in love with my very soul, and I must fall in love with theirs too. So if you go, I want love. But who do you want love with? How long do you want love for? You could love someone who doesn't love you. You could be loved by someone that you don't love. So you've got to be I want to love someone's soul, and they love mine, and we grow a beautiful relationship that lasts our entire life. Now that's very clear. My mind's going to make sure I only attract someone who's going to be committing to me, not an idiot, not someone who's married, not someone who's an addict. Because I've explained what I want with no room for misinterpretation. If you say I want attention, you could have explosive gas. You'll get a lot of attention. But is that what you want? I very much doubt it. But you see how easy it is. I want attention. Now I've got a nervous twitch. I've got explosive gas. People keep noticing me. I didn't want that, but I said I wanted attention. I didn't say I want positive attention of being a lovely person, or I want people to work to notice how good I am, how gifted I am. So unless you're clear, your mind will give you what you want in the most peculiar way. I want a day off work. We do this. I would love a week off work lying on the sofa. Now I've got the flu. But that's what I asked for. I wanted a week off work to go swimming and hiking and play with my kids. But I'm so ill with a cold, I can't leave. And we've all done that. We've all said, I'd give anything to not turn up that day. And come that day, we get a migraine headache and can't turn up. Because the mind said, but you said it. Your wish is my command. Don't waste your wishes. And be very clear and very specific. Because what people do is they go, I wish I wouldn't fail. I wish I wasn't lonely. I wish people didn't ignore me. I wish I didn't have to eat lunch by myself every day. Rather than saying, I wish people would invite me to have lunch. I wish to have so many friends because I'm a great person. I wish to be noticed for my skills. When you make a wish, make sure it's a positive, clear, specific wish, and it'll probably come true.
I love that. So this is a message from Cece. What's something you'll never do again, even if it made you millions?
I would never dim my own light to make someone else feel comfortable. If people don't like your light, then they have to wear sunglasses. But we learn to dim our light to make other people happy. And if people can't cope with your brilliance, then they can all wear sunglasses.
Love that. So this is a message from Ashley. Is it ever brave and not selfish to cut off a family member for your own healing?
Nothing will influence you more than the company you keep. And we're all about energy. And if you have someone that makes you feel bad about yourself, that diminishes you, you have to stop seeing them. But you don't cut them off. You take the energy out of that relationship. You know, years ago, I was a single parent. All my friends were single parents. It was a wonderful thing. We all supported each other. But I noticed some of them were very anti-men. And they wanted to stay in that bitterness. And I thought, you know what? This is not good for me. It's not good for my daughter either. So I just began to take the energy out of the friendship. I'd wait a week to return a message. I'd say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not available. I just stopped being, I wasn't rude. I just gradually made, you know, it's like I'm playing tennis with. If I put down my bat and walk off the court, we can't engage. So it's not cruel. You've got to honour yourself. If you're making someone else more important than you, you're making yourself less important. So if this family member, take the energy out of it. And if you have to be around them at Christmases and Thanksgiving, just say, this is going over my head. I don't have to let it in because we always have a choice, and here's the choice. I will not let their negativity in. I had an uncle like that. He hated wealthy people, hated successful people. He was very much a working class man. And I remember him saying to me when I got a Porsche, "Oh, you're one of them now, one of the poshies." And I worked really hard for that Porsche, and I loved it. And he was so diminishing. But I thought, you know what? Critical people always have the most criticism reserved for themselves, and they express outwards their own dissatisfactions. When he hated my Porsche and appeared to hate me for having a Porsche, I knew, oh, this is you. You're dissatisfied with you and you're projecting it to me, but I've got a choice. I'm not letting it in. You would say, oh, look at those poshies. And he would call people filthy rich, obscenely wealthy, which is an interesting expression, because what's obscene about being wealthy? But he would never be wealthy because he hated wealthy people. I liked them and I became one.
There you go. This is a message from Jamie. Can therapy sometimes trap people in their pain instead of setting them free?
You know, in the 50s, Freud came along with his message of all trauma comes from your childhood and you've got to talk about it over and over again without necessarily promise of a recovery. And someone said, well, that's a great model. That's a great business model. Let's have people come in every week to discuss their trauma without promising them they'll ever get better. And now we look back and think that was a terrible model. That was an incorrect model, because that was a model built to make therapists' life better, but not the client necessarily. I mean, who go to A and go, I think I broke my ankle? They go, well, come in every week and talk about it. You know, when you're in pain, the job of a healthcare professional is to make you better, whether it's a dentist, a doctor, or a chiropractor, or indeed a nurse. Therapy is the only model that says, bring me your pain, we'll have a relationship, and you may or may not get better, but you'll learn to like who you are in your own skin. But I don't think we've got time for that anymore. So there's something called HEBS, H-E-B-S-S, that has proven that ongoing therapy for too long actually starts to be counterproductive. There are people who said, I've been to talk therapy, it was wonderful. My therapist helped me a great deal, but there are a lot of other people who say, I'm still in the same place talking about it every week, and it's not going to see. If I cut my hand, my arm, the wound will heal, but if I keep pulling it open, not only will it not heal, I'll get septicemia. Wounds heal if you leave them alone or if you treat them properly. So while I can see the good of talk therapy for a while, ongoing talk therapy just makes you dependent, and we want to be interdependent and free.
So here's an interesting question. I'm not sure if I believe this to be true. Why do so many women still fake orgasms? And what does that say about power, shame, and silence in the bedroom?
Women often are the pleasers. They've got this guy, they want to please him, and they feel, you know, if I don't orgasm, he's going to feel bad, and there's something wrong with me. So let me fake it, and then I'll make him feel good. In the same way that if someone makes you a dinner that's disgusting, you go, it's delicious, thank you. You don't really say it's hideous, I hate it, it's awful. So we all learn to care about other people's feelings, but once you start to fake it and fake it and fake it, it's very hard to then say, actually, I've never had an orgasm with you, because it's like, well, why did you do that? You have to say to someone, this is what works. I really like that. I really need that. Do more of that. Your partner's not psychic. They're not clever. And what works for one person doesn't work for another. So if they come to you from a relationship where they did this and that and their girlfriend responded, they think you'll do the same. And it's your job to say, what I like is this. What really turns me on is that. Be honest.
Do you think people find that hard to do?
You know, women have got that whole Madonna whore thing that I shouldn't tell someone I'm excited by something. They might not understand. But fantasy helps you become very orgasmic, so at the worst, at least do it in your head. Your partner won't care because you're becoming super orgasmic, but you've got to be honest. If you can't tell someone, when people get divorced, they'll say, what I hated the most is my husband never loaded the dishwasher. What I hated the most is my wife always left her makeup on the bathroom, and they never told them. They go, why didn't you tell me? I would have done something about it. Why didn't you tell me that you hated that? But we don't. We expect our partner to know, and in bed is the same. Tell people what you like. Respond so that they know, oh, this is working. And don't lie. You can't have a great relationship from lying and faking it. You have a great relationship from being really honest. You know, I saw a client once, and he said to me, I took this girl out last week. She sent me an email, and the email said, I don't want to see you again. You didn't try hard enough in bed. And he went, what a woman. I'm going to see her again. I'm going to try harder. She told me you didn't try hard enough in bed. I'm not interested in you. He said, I'm calling her to tell her I'm going to be better. Because it was a challenge. And he thought that was amazing that she had the courage to say you didn't try hard enough. Men like a challenge. So say, that doesn't work for me, but this does. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable, but it's not hard. It's simply unfamiliar. If you do it enough, it becomes familiar.
This is quite a topic at the moment. It's come from Emma. She's got 2 little boys, and she's talking about toxic masculinity and what's the most dangerous belief that she can teach her boys.
Boys don't cry. You know, boys don't cry has created so many problems for so many men. You're a big boy. You know, stop acting like a girl. I know now we're more aware of that, but you're running like a girl. You're a big girl's blouse. And we're teaching boys, keep it all in. Only girls can cry. Boys don't cry. And also toughen up. You know, if someone's hitting you, hit them back. So look at your son and teach him something different. You're a feeling person. Teach him to respect other people, but also have a sense of who they are. But if your son wants to cry, let them. And also if your son wants to cry, if your kid falls over, don't go, doesn't it? Go, that really hurt, didn't it? Oh, that hurt. We're saying it didn't hurt, don't cry, you're okay. It's teaching them something, oh, I got to keep everything in. So when your kid falls over, go, wow, that hurt, didn't it? That hurt your leg. That hurt when your friend didn't invite you to their party. That hurt when your friend at school went off with someone else. They go, yes, it hurt. Because the trick is when you can find your hurt and acknowledge it, it goes away almost immediately. When you can say, I'm hurt by, I was hurt when you teach sons to never express their hurt, they become repressed. And we don't want that.
This is a message from Harry. So can you help me understand what's really behind male impotence? I feel shame, stress, or maybe it's something deeper. Can RTT fix it?
Well, let's first of all look at testosterone. Testosterone drops. If a man is fighting a lot with his girlfriend or even his friends, every time a man is in combat, his testosterone drops. So if you have PTSD, you'll have low testosterone. So if you're in a relationship with your partner, you're fighting a lot, your testosterone will go down. And it may be something as simple as getting some testosterone cream. So that's the first thing, the physical side. The second side is men have performance anxiety. They watch a lot of porn. And they see men performing in a way that's not even realistic. It's not even real. It's all staged and faked. So don't compare yourself. You know, the average man can have sex for 4.5 minutes. If you watch porn, they're at it the whole night. They're going on for 12 hours. But 4.5 minutes is normal. And that's often including foreplay. Of course, people can do that for a lot longer in the beginning. But the average guy lasts for 4.5 minutes with penetration, which is not long. Don't compare yourself, don't watch porn. And there's lots of help out there for men with premature ejaculation and erectile dysfunction. A lot of it's in your head. You've got to believe, you know, I can maintain erections, I give my partner pleasure, I help my partner orgasm, and then I orgasm. And if you believe that you're really good at it, it gets easier. If you believe you're awful at it, it gets worse. So don't compare yourself. Just focus. And if you're an impotent man, the most important thing is to give your partner an orgasm in a different way. That's what hands and mouths are for. And you can have all kinds of erotic sex. You can watch porn. You can talk dirty. There's so many things you can do. When you notice you can please your partner and they become orgasmic without penetration, it will give you back that, oh, I did that. And then you'll begin to do it with penetration too, because you've noticed that you're not impotent. You're just not great at maintaining an erection, but you can do everything else. And when you do everything else, the erection will come back.
Why are women still taught to compete with each other? And how do you respond to sabotage or subtle attacks from other women?
You know, so for so long, women have not been at the top. So if you get a woman in banking and one woman gets to the top, they are quite fearful that another woman might take that position, and so they tend to act more like men. But every woman that does that, there are women who are bringing other women up with them. It's just quite new for women to still be at the top. You know, the head of the police force is a woman. The head of the fire department is a woman. That's quite new. And we just need to adapt to that. So all competitiveness comes from fear. A fear of being replaced, a fear of not being good enough. And we have to get over the fear and then we won't need to do that.
This is a message from Stacy. If you could dismantle one belief system or industry, what would it be? And what would you create in its place?
What I would do, I would take away streaming in schools immediately, and I would take away rewarding children at prize day for achievement, and I'd reward them for effort. I wouldn't have streaming. I might put kids who are good at art in one group and kids who are good at English in another, and I'd say to them, this is your gift. Your gift is IT, your gift is science, your gift is dance. But if you could only reward effort and not achievement, you see, naturally gifted kids get the prize for just doing something that was easy. Another kid might have spent 4 hours on their project, but they didn't win because it wasn't perfect. But if they only won for effort, we'd make more of an effort, and we'd know I get rewarded for trying. That would be a great thing.
I know you challenge the school system.
I just dismantle the whole school system, yeah.
And you start by teaching children how to believe they're enough.
Yeah. You know, in Scandinavia, children already self-select their lessons. The kids who are good at English go to English. The kids who are good at IT go to IT, because that's where they're going in their career. And so we should be saying to children, you see, what does school does? Let's make you good at everything. When you're jack of all trades, you're forever a master of none. And the very fact that school tries to make you good at every subject is so wrong, because the truth is we're here to be good at one thing. I might be good at therapy. I'm not good at plumbing. I don't know how to be an electrician. I have no idea how to garden. I'm not even a fantastic cook, because I only focus on my gift. And if you could say to everyone, find your gift, perfect your gift, and take your gift out of the world, that's all you have to do. But if you were good at everything, if I was good at everything, I'd never go out for dinner. I'd make my own clothes. I'd plumb my own bathroom. I'd do my own carpentry. I'd never employ anybody. And the whole world would be very odd if we all were good at everything, because we wouldn't employ anybody. You're supposed to be here to find one gift, perfect it. Don't worry about anyone else's gifts. Just work on your gift and pay other people to do their gift while they pay you to do your gift. That's what the world is supposed to be. But schools say be good at everything. And it diminishes your gift powerfully, and it shouldn't.
This is a question from Samira. What was the toughest question you've ever been asked?
The toughest question ever was when I had cancer twice. And I had to have a conversation with myself, because that was a very tough question. Am I going to make it? What's going to happen to me? How am I going to deal with this? So that was a very tough question, because I had to ask myself some questions. Because am I going to die? Am I going to leave my daughter without a parent? But it was a good question, because when I asked that question, I thought, hell no, I'm not going anywhere. So it was a good question. Am I going to leave my daughter without me? Absolutely not. I thought, I'm going to live at any... I don't care if I'm bald in a wheelchair, skeletal or obese, I'm not going anywhere. So it was a tough question. But in asking that question, I knew straight away, I'm going to fight this and win. Because the truth is, I knew something. Cancer cannot live without me, but I can live without it. Therefore, I've already won. Because the cancer can't win. If it wins, we both die. Therefore, but I can live without it, it can't live without me. It was a good question, because it made me determined. And there's so many things you can do with cancer. You can take all the parabens out of your home, stop having sugar, take certain supplements, do visualization, keep your mobile phone out of your bedroom. I realized there were so many things I could do. Take all the sugar out of my diet. I did all of that. And I realized, well, I've got all these choices. So it was a tough conversation. It ended up being a very good one.
But you had something bigger than cancer to fight for.
Yeah, I had my daughter, and I wasn't leaving her on her own. In fact, I was very lucky, because I had womb cancer, and I had a conversation with my womb, and I said, look, here's the thing. I don't really need you anymore. You gave me a great kid, and now I have to let you go in order to stay here with that great kid. So I had a hysterectomy. And it was a good thing to say, thank you, womb, for doing your job. You grew this baby, but I have to let you go now. But I don't, if I have all the organs to give up, a womb, I felt lucky it was a womb, because I didn't need it anymore. So I kind of said goodbye to it, had a little conversation with it. And I remember someone saying to one of the doctors, when we take it out, some of the cancer cells can spill out and then travel around your body. So I thought, well, that's good. So I imagined it wrapped in cling film. I put a fortress around it, and I knew when it came out it hadn't gone anywhere. And I liked that I had cancer one day, and the next day I didn't.
Very powerful. So thanks again. That was Ask a Therapist with the one, the only Marisa Peer. If you're enjoying this content, can I ask you to give us a follow or a subscribe? Now, it's really important that you keep asking us your questions. It doesn't matter how wild, wacky, or personal they are. Please just come and ask whatever you need help, guidance, and a little bit of love for. So please ask your questions below or send them to us in the DM. Thank you very much.
See you next time.